Welcome to our video today. We're going to be talking about finding a work-life balance, all for teachers.
So we're going to be giving you some tips today about making sure that teaching doesn't take over your life completely, making sure that you carry on being yourself and that you are still being the best teacher you can be, but managing your time outside of work as best you can. Okay, our first top tip is to find yourself some kind of to-do list or general reminders to have each day. So making sure that you set yourself small goals, for example, leave at a certain time, make sure you sit down and have a proper lunch, make sure you get there at a time that's reasonable where you can get prepared in the morning, and try to stick to it as best you can because those first couple of weeks are going to be very, very busy.
I'd recommend finding a priority list, making sure that anything that you do that impacts on somebody else, for instance your planning, if it needs to be done for your whole team, make sure that's top priority. Make sure you bump it up to the top of the list. Okay, so moving on to tip number 2. We're trying to limit teacher chat. We want to have those relationships with your fellow teachers, but we don't want it to become overboard. Don't want you to feel that every day at 4 o'clock you've then got to spend 2 hours before you get your marking done just by having a gossip and a chat. Really thinking about how you're going to construct that time. Definitely at the start, I think we were more than guilty of doing this ourselves, but I think it's about making sure you're thinking, I want to be out by 5 o'clock, this is what I need to do, this and this. There isn't really much time in the end of the day.
It's so important to get to know people, but maybe try and take that time outside of school, maybe once or twice a week if possible.
Yeah, I think it's really hard if you're a really sociable, chatty person, not to talk to the cleaner, not to then fill your TLA and all your weekend plans, feed them information about what you're going to do the next day, and then you're going to speak to your head of year, ask them how their day's been, and by the end of the day you realise that you spoke to everybody and it's 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, and you should have really gone home a long time ago. So it's about just making sure you're getting the most out of your time. And so tip number 3 is about making sure that you're still maintaining all your hobbies, interests, anything that you loved to do before you became a teacher. Don't let it fly out the window now that you've just got your degree in your first class.
I think it's really important to remember that after you've done a really, really long day at work, when you get home, the first thing you want to do is just completely relax, or try and make sure it's something that's got nothing to do with teaching, something completely different that inspires you and gives you something to look forward to. And tip number 4 is don't compare yourself to teachers that you hear about that work completely flat out until they cannot physically do anything else. So be cautious of teachers who say that they don't, like they stay up all night. Just be cautious of that because those teachers might be getting a lot done, but actually maybe they aren't managing their workload in the best way possible.
Don't look at somebody else and think, wow, they spend 4 hours a day planning. That's what I need to aspire to, because it's really surely not what you can manage.
You should be aspiring to be the best that you can be yourself, and that's while maintaining an actual life outside of work as well. I used to worry a lot about people at university who would joke. They would say, I've been in the library for 24 hours, I can't believe I've not left, I've not slept, I'm on my 10th energy drink. And I think it's very important to not look up to people that do that, because it's not a healthy thing to do. And that kind of leads on to our last point, which is staying positive in school. If you are really struggling with your workload, or something is just not manageable for you, or you're finding that the children's actual learning is taking a back seat because you're concentrating on so many other things, I think it's important to talk to people, phase leader, your senior leadership team, or someone that you trust in the school, and just let them know that you're finding it a little bit difficult to stay on top of your workload. They don't want you to burn out, they don't want you to find it too much, but they do want to help you to be the best teacher that you can be. I
always think as well, it doesn't matter if you spent 4 hours planning a lesson the night before, if you're going to go into that classroom tired, grumpy, hungry, sleepy, all of those things, then you're not going to perform at your best, you're going to come in with a bad attitude. I think it's better to get a good night's sleep, try and maintain a healthy attitude to life.
Thank you so much for watching our video all about finding a teacher work-life balance. We hope that you've been inspired to have a think about your practice and maybe make some changes in order to get the best out of yourself and the children.
We are for teachers. Hit us up below.
Which dwarf are you?
I'm sleepy. I'm bashful a little bit.